Oh, this is your skirt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a table runner.
No, that's not the tablecloth. What was your favorite lilac party that we've done?
That time a couple of years ago when we were all laughing so hard that I couldn't catch my breath.
And so I think, a lot of what we do here is about creating these moments, these opportunities to gather, to kind of give our kids this understanding of who they are and where they come from. And this is just another one of those. But the fact that we specifically kind of keep it to the women in the family, I think gives us this self-identity of like this is our tribe, Welcome to afternoon tea at Pantry Hill. Join us over a cup or two as we work together to create home.
Step by step, down the path we made.
Okay, we are all packed up and we are about to make our way across town to my grandmother's house to celebrate one of my favorite events of the year, our annual Lilac Party. Let's go. As much as gardening is an act you perform in the present, whether for meditation or exercise or just something to do outdoors, it's also a gift you're giving the future. For my grandmother, the cultivation of that gift began 57 years ago when she dug up lilacs from the side of the road and transplanted them around the entire perimeter of her property. Many years later, when I became a gardener myself, somewhere along the way, I realized it wasn't enough to passively recognize their beauty. I wanted to take the time to honor it fully for the fleeting moment each year when they're in bloom. Our annual Lilac Party is an opportunity for 4 generations of women to come together and celebrate this rich legacy of motherhood, of nurturing, and of gardening. Okay, so every year I go with a little bit of a different theme. This year, I was inspired by these vases from Darien. These 2 like green and white kind of like crackled vases. And also this antique table that I picked up at an estate sale.
Oh, this is your skirt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a table runner.
No, that's not the tablecloth. Thanks, Mom. I don't have a full plan when I come into setting a table. I have a color scheme, I have some inspiration, and then I play with it when I'm in here. So like this here.
Can we put that candle on one of those green plates?
I don't think I have enough of them, but I have books. I have green books to kind of give a break from the stripes.
Yep, perfect.
Right?
The books are one of my favorite staging elements.
Yeah, me too.
Really.
Me too. And so I love to set centerpieces. If I'm using multiple pieces, set the centerpieces in groups of 3. So I did actually plan ahead that the candle was number 3, right? So I had the 2 vases, candle was 3. The colored plates are an enamel plate, and these came from Darien as well. And I didn't necessarily have anything specific that I was tying the blue into, not just designing specifically the tablescape, but designing for the natural background around it, right? The sky, the flowers, the grass, so that you're not fighting the environment, you're working with it. Mixing and matching is really a really fun way to create an interesting tablescape, but also when you're collecting things, it's like just a more affordable way to like add to your collections, because you don't need a full set of anything. But I find that designing tablescapes is a lot like designing a room. When you find that one piece of inspiration, right, you kind of draw from that, and then you tie in some of those meaningful pieces, like the antique books or the heirlooms, or in this case, the most meaningful pieces are going to be the lilacs. We are here at my grandmother's property in downtown Saratoga Springs. She, 57 years ago, planted lilacs all around the perimeter of her property. And so about 6 or 7 years ago, she started needing help pruning them back. I said, why are we not, before we clip these all back, why are we not hosting some sort of celebration in front of the lilacs before we come and we clip them all back? So it has turned into this tradition of gathering with the women in our family, your sisters, my sisters, all of our cousins, to sit down, honor the lilacs, right? The time of year, but also this happens here in the Northeast to fall sometime between Mother's Day and your birthday, my mom's birthday. So the lilacs are kind of synonymous with your birthday and always have been.
Correct.
What was your favorite lilac party that we've done?
That time a couple of years ago when we were all laughing so hard that I couldn't catch my breath. And
I mean, Grandma was laughing.
We have a picture of her at the end of the table laughing. Sorry, Dad. It was probably something embarrassing.
Right,
but
my grandfather passed away several years ago, and so we're just, probably laughing about the way he used to mow the lawn and like how he was so crazy about all of that. So I guess the other element of this celebration is celebrating gardening, right? And just my grandmother was a prolific gardener, and she really got into her perennial gardens, and you learned how to garden from Grandma, and I learned how to garden from Grandma, and she has so much information from her grandmother that we still draw from.
This is the house that I grew up in, and so she planted them right around the time that we moved in, so I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And as a kid and a teenager, I never took it for granted. I never really appreciated the beauty of everything until I became an adult, and then I caught the gardening bug, obviously from her.
When you're a gardener, there's always something to do, right? And so you tend to not take pause to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. And so this is kind of an opportunity to do that. And so what's fun about this is everyone is kind of on call for when the flowers are going to bloom. Everybody kind of says it's going to be during this week, so everybody just kind of keep a lookout for that phone call, right? And so it happened yesterday. So last night I texted everyone and I said, tomorrow night is the night, who's in? And my aunt texted and she was like, oh no, let me rearrange. And so everybody rearranged their schedules.
Last minute
to be here tonight. And that's what happens every single year.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's so special.
We all kind of pitch in, right? Not one person is really wholly responsible, which is actually how most of our holidays go, are not wholly responsible for
the food,
the
drink.
Right? Everybody kind of brings bits and pieces. And so it doesn't feel really overwhelming to anybody. We each use our own skills and talents to kind of add to the experience. And so what I really love doing is creating the aesthetic experience for everyone. And so I'm the one who kind of puts together
the tablescape
and the decor, and I choose a subtle theme every year, and everybody probably hates it, but I always send out a text and I say, like, this is the color palette. It'd be really fun if everybody dressed accordingly, right?
My favorite part is the last couple of years we've ordered sandwiches.
So, and it just kind of keeps it casual and light, and it doesn't have to be this, like, we do like the big crazy cooking for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, and so we want this to kind of be easy. Yeah. And so I think, a lot of what we do here is about creating these moments, these opportunities to gather, to kind of give our kids this understanding of who they are and where they come from. And this is just another one of those. But the fact that we specifically kind of keep it to the women in the family, I think gives us this self-identity of like this is our tribe,
For my mom, I'm gonna get upset. Sorry. Just having her be able to have everyone around her.
She is the matriarch.
Absolutely.
And so, like, to see all of us become mothers, and like you said to me the other day on Mother's Day, you said, like, the greatest thing about becoming a mom is seeing my girls become moms.
Yeah.
And so I think this is just kind of like an extension of that.
Absolutely.
I do think that Mother's Day as a holiday has a lot of expectations around it, right? With just like gathering and seeing people, and there's a lot that goes into that, right? So I think that this is kind of an opportunity around Mother's Day, but outside of Mother's Day, for us to take a breather and really like sit down and kind of like appreciate all that Mother's Day is,
Yep.
but without the pressure of it.
Well, the other thing is too, is we try to keep it so simple so that we're not wiped out by the time we sit down to have something to eat and have conversation. And I think every other holiday, most people can attest to, you're running around with your head cut off trying to get everything done and make it perfect. And I feel like we always come to the table here happy and like rested and ready to talk.
There was forethought in what the table was
Yep.
going to look like, but as far as like putting it all together, I mean, I loaded the truck up 2 hours ago
Yeah.
from my house, and we just kind of like all pitched in. We set
Yep.
it all up. We clipped some flowers and threw them in vases,
Yes.
and then everybody's going to be bringing out
Yep.
the food in
Yep.
just a minute.
Super excited. And they probably are very hungry.
Yeah, I think they're probably ready. I think
They're
everybody's
ready.
watching us from the window like, okay,
Come
let's
on,
move
let's
it
go.
along. Cheers. I love you.
Cheers. I love you too.
I'll never forget the first year we sat down for this celebration. We raised our glasses, and my grandmother, sitting at the head of the table, said, "This is exactly what I pictured when I planted these lilacs all those years ago." As you plan your own gardens, look to the future. Maybe you're not in your forever home, but hopefully it'll always be someone's home. And your legacy, your family's legacy, will live on through those roots that you set.
Open the door, come inside from the wind, changing weather now. Open the door.
Thank you for joining us for afternoon tea. We hope you'll take some time to enjoy your home this week. If you like exclusive content from this episode, be sure to subscribe to my Substack.